What was your reaction when you found out that she was going to be stepping back into the fold?
Well, I was actually elated all of a sudden because, there wasn't a whole lot of talk as to what. I didn't even know her name. So, suddenly she had a name and there was going to be some sort of return. And I didn't know what the circumstances were going to be. And, you guys had found out that, she obviously had a drug problem. And it put our daughter in jeopardy, and that's pretty much why she ended up leaving. A stint in rehab also, but never really explained why she never came back until now. So it was much easier for Joe to pretend that she died than to explain why she was gone and she wasn't part of Iris's life.
I can assume that Iris will not necessarily react favorably to you lying to her for her whole life.
Well, I mean, you guys have seen the show. Of course not.
So what can you choose what that does for their relationship?
Iris doesn't take well to being, lied to, particularly a huge lie like that. I mean, it's a huge lie, and, I think you'll be surprised at how it all shakes down. But Iris is growing as a character and as a woman, and she handles it a whole lot better than I would have ever imagined it being written. She really does she's growing, literally growing. It's awesome.
Has Francine had any children of her own since her and Joe split?
Not that I know of.
Has Francine's return affected Joe's relationship with Barry at all?
No.
No,
not at all. I mean, I think more than anything, Barry's worried about me because he sees how worried I am that she suddenly returned and what that means for Iris. And so he's certainly concerned about my feelings about the whole thing. But no, Barry literally is the shoulder to lean on in this whole little episode.
Building on that, how does it feel to be the only remaining father figure for Barry? You won.
I didn't realize it was a competition. Well, I'm still grappling with the fact the dude just left. I don't get it. You're finally free to, have a relationship with your son, and he felt like he had to leave. I don't know how much Jesse, understands that decision. I know that they're pointing Joe towards being a bit jealous of their relationship because, I'm not his biological father. I'm just the guy that raised him. And I don't mean just as in that was a small feat. That was huge. But I'm not his biological dad. So there his dad is free and, he's not around.
He was locked up for a while, maybe he's got to take some time.
I understand, maybe there's things he needs to do with his own life, And Barry is a grown man and also a superhero. So maybe he felt that, getting out of his way would be a better thing. Still don't get it, though. Don't really get it.
Can you talk about how, is Joe involved with the Snarts at all?
Only peripherally. I only know, I certainly know of Snart's criminal record, for sure. But, Barry's made some deals with Snart in the past and probably will continue to do so because Snart's not going anywhere, I don't believe. But I only hear about what's going on with Snart so far through Barry.
What can you say about Patty's relationship with Joe going forward now that she's an official member of the MetaHuman Task Force?
Well, I think we get into a lot of bumpy situations just because there's so kind of like this where there's so little things, there's so many things I can't tell her. You know what I mean? And to put her on the MetaHuman Task Force, but then sort of keep her in the dark as to what's really happening in most cases. Any strong woman won't take that well. So, you'll get to see how she actually reacts to it. But, it's another kind of mistake that I make with another partner.
Does he find himself in any awkward situations there because he knows that Barry loves Iris, but also we see that Barry and Patty have a connection?
Yeah, there's a couple of awkward situations, and there's a whole thing sort of floating around about when at work, how much do they show their relationship, and it flips back and forth. There's a point where I sort of encourage him to just sort of be free with it, and then I see them being free with it, and I don't like it. So, so it kind of goes back and forth.
Can you talk at all about why Francine came back and what she's hoping for?
I still don't really know because we're kind of in there, but I know that initially she really wants to see her daughter. She really wants to see what has happened with Iris, and I think that's all I can say, right?
Sorry, I was talking.
It's all right.
That's all we have.
She's like, that's all you can say. That's all I can say. I mean, because otherwise you'll know things that nobody should know.
Can you talk about working with Vanessa Williams?
Yes, I can. I can talk about that all day. She's awesome, by the way. I've known her, peripherally for like a long time, since way back in the Soul Food days, because she worked with a lot of friends of mine. She's like incredible actress. She's a great spirit to have on set. I mean, she keeps everything easy. She's truly professional, but a whole lot of fun to work with. And like, we've been having a good time having this little reunion. And from what I hear, like, it's sort of expanding a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen with this whole thing, but she definitely has a positive effect on Joe.
So she's going to be around for a little while?
I think so. That's what I keep hearing, but I don't know why.
So Harrison arrived at the end of Tuesday's episode, tomorrow's episode. Obviously he confessed. Earth 1 Harrison confessed, which was actually Eobard, but Earth 2 Harrison is now arriving on Earth 1. What kind of complications is that going to present, especially with you on the Force?
Well, with me, I don't trust the first Harrison, so if a new guy shows up looking just like him, I don't trust him either. So like you'll see a lot of that. And he comes back and I almost said something awful. He comes back and he's even less cool than he was before. It's the only way I can put it. I was going to use a Cisco term, like he's a dick. But yeah, he presents a whole lot of problems for me. Just looking at him, like because I can't believe it. First of all, I can't believe there's another Earth. I can't get around that, So like, things keep popping out of this other Earth, and they keep looking like people we've seen before. So I'm like, that's the same guy. It's not a different guy. That's the same guy. So that's where Joe is with the whole thing.
So when do we get to meet Earth 2 Joe?
Say it again?
When do we get to meet Earth 2 Joe?
That's a damn good question. Like, if there are people, if it is the Earth 2 and it sort of mimics the Earth 1, you would think that maybe there's a Joe over there, and it'd be really interesting to see what he does. I mean, maybe he's meta, Just putting it out there. I don't know, but like, I could probably be. There was one point where it was suggested by Professor Stein that I might be a scientist on Earth 2. I think Joe kind of liked that. It's better than like, nah, you're a bum. You sing on the street. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be really cool though. I mean, we got a whole lot of episodes to do, so anything could happen.
So Joe's going to continue to sort of think of everything as kind of over his head, because I love that scene where he's just kind of like, yeah, you deal with it, I'm just walking.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I take everything for, how it comes to me, what Joe does, and I try not to be surprised by what keeps showing up, but it's always so incredible. Like, that shark thing, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, yeah, it's always incredible. Now that the whole notion of this other Earth, and like, we're not just dealing with what's happening in Central City, we're dealing with what's happening on Earth 1, because all these metas keep showing up. And you ever noticed, well, I mean, you guys probably know the comics way better than I do. I don't know them that well. But what I'm kind of grappling with right now is that, like, okay, so there's a whole gang of metas, right? Why is all of them bad?
That's what I'm saying. We're the
Like,
good
we're
ones.
the cool ones. Like, you know, they can turn, like, water into whiskey and stuff. You know, like with the cool powers. Like, it just hasn't happened yet. I guess it's not that interesting if people just show up being nice. But, like, still, it'd be kind of cool if there was just, you know, all we got is Barry so far, you know, like, to help save the world, you know. But again, you guys know more about the comics than I do, and I'm sure you know of some out there that are good and may show up at some point.
What can you tease about what you guys are filming right now and where you guys are at?
What can I tease about where we
What
are?
episode are you at, first of all?
10. We're about to go into 10.
Okay.
What can I tease about that? It's not much, right? You're a whole lot of help right now. Like,
Just answer with your heart.
huh?
Yeah, we're just leaving you to burn.
I know, right? This is the hard part about doing a show in this genre, right? Because like there's so many secrets, and like everybody knows the worlds, and I mean worlds. And you know, you guys know way more than me. Like I can see when you guys ask a question, you know the answer. I can see it. So like, you know, you're not gonna catch me, you know, putting it out there. But it's a funny world to be in because like there's so many exciting things going on, right? Like there's so many exciting things. There's people that are showing up and you're like, oh my God, not only like they're incredible actors, but like they're playing these incredible characters. And you're just like, you can't say anything, you know, like.
Have you heard the rumblings on the internet that because the DC TV universe and the DC movie universe are different universes,
Yeah.
there's a movie Flash, TV Flash,
Yeah.
but now we have multiple Earths. Would you be willing to show up on the big screen as Joe from TV?
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, I would take this character anywhere. Like if they wanted to do a live show, I'd do it. You know, like, you know.
Flash the musical?
Totally down. Totally down for it. I would totally be down for it. Yeah, I would love to do that. But to be honest, like, I really wouldn't want to do it without Grant. So, you know, that may never, ever happen. But, like, Grant's my Flash. So, you know, that's the Flash I'm sticking with. And if he stays in, you know, the TV world, that's where I'm staying.
Has Joe had any interaction with any of the Arrow people, any Star City characters?
Only peripherally. Like I did have a little bit of contact with Oliver, and Joe thinks Oliver's crazy. I'm not even sure why yet, but like, just don't really. He was like, "What's up with this dude? Like he's just killing people." Like, I don't get it. Even though Joe does it too, but I've met. Felicity several times, obviously, who I absolutely adore. I think she's awesome, and in real life and on screen. Who else? Oh, I worked with Lance on a case. He helped us out with something, but I don't go to their town much. I got my own town to worry about, you know. And Barry deals with them usually. Like he's like, 'cause you know he can get there quicker than I can. You know?
Well, what do you think would happen if Joe and Diggle ever met? Because they both have a difficult time wrapping their head around this whole supernatural side.
Well, we have met. There's one little scene. You never see us talk to each other, but we're both just sort of standing next to each other. And there was a point when we both kind of went. Sorry, recorders, you can't see what I just did. But you'll figure it out. But it would be an interesting scene, a really interesting conversation. So, what's the craziest thing you've seen? Well, let me tell you. You know, that would actually be a really cool scene. Maybe it'll happen at some point.
Yeah, like at a bar, just chilling.
Put that out in the internet world. And let's see if it bounces back favorably.
Are you still filming the crossover now, or is that done?
No, I think they're still filming.
Okay.
I didn't really have much to do with it, but I think they're still doing the crossover.
Near the end of the first season, there's this kind of tense scene between Joe and the district attorney where she's kind of like telling him that he's eventually going to get to this place where his alliances are going to clash or he might get in trouble with the force for all the secrets he's keeping. Is that something that's going to come up again or has come up?
I believe it's going to come up. I hope so, because I think that DA's hot. She is. I mean, she's just like a little firehouse.
She just kind of popped in and then
made
an impression and then didn't really.
I'm sure. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's bound to happen at some point, because I do keep crossing the line as far as like what's my job and what has absolutely nothing to do with Central City Police Department. And we have this joke with the costume department where when they're figuring out what I'm gonna wear, they're like, wait, is this Rogue Joe? Because Rogue Joe is the guy who's like trying to pretend he's not a cop right now, so he can get away with all this craziness that he's doing. But yeah, I hope that happens, because it makes for an interesting time for me, like having to sort of weigh what I can get away with.
Any more good Cisco and Joe Nolan's coming out? Is he going to get involved with Cisco's?
I hope so, because I have such a good time with Carlos that, and Joe does too with Cisco. Like, I think I think Cisco's crazy, right? Like he's just crazy. Like, and you have to imagine that this kid probably never sleeps, because he's always got something up his sleeve. He'll show up with a thing, and you're just like, when the hell did you have time to make this? He's like, no, don't ask questions. Just, this is what it does. I hope so, because I mean, he is part of like this place right now, at least in an adjunct capacity, and it'll be interesting to see how much they use that. And our writers have such a tough time, because like, there's so many characters to take care of, right? There's so many plot lines to take care of. There's so many stories that are sort of going like, and then, making all kinds of left turns. And so it must be really difficult to like keep things like linear. I mean, it has to be, because there's just so many characters to take care of. And like the whole notion that Cisco is working in this department also, but still has a job at Star Labs, and there's new people that just keep showing up at Star Labs, and all this new technology that needs to be sort of put together by Cisco. I don't know how we're going to find the time to do all that, but I really do hope so, because I love working with him.
Do you have a favorite meta-human that Joe's been on the chase of this season so far?
Favorite?
Or coming up?
God.
Or who's coming up?
Yeah, it's so funny, because the one I'm thinking of I can't talk about, and he was standing right there. Yeah, I do have a favorite, but I can't talk about it at all. I can't.
After which episode can you talk about it?
After the season is over, I can talk about it.